curriculum, see, let us say, just tell, you can also put it in the chat, or you can just think about it. How much, or in how many years you revise your curriculum? Is it the old curriculum which you were having it when you were a student or a graduate? No, no, isn't it? So let us say every 5 years or 3 years, there is some, or let us say there is a lot of changes which is happening in the curriculum. And of late, if you look into it, the curriculum is like curriculum design, and things are a continuous improvement program, and it keeps on there is a lot of dynamic changes in that, right? So what are the key elements, how they are evolving? If you see, let us say, if you want to improve the quality of education also, the first element is the curriculum. And this curriculum is dynamic, that is, a lot of changes are happening. And if you see, according to the industry 4.0, lot of emerging areas and the thrust areas has been given emphasis in the curriculum for your elective courses, or so whatever it is, right? So when you look into the curriculum, it is dynamic. The second component is the pedagogy, that is the teaching learning methodology, right? If you look into our engineering education particularly, do you have you come across many changes? Yes, to some extent, yes. Not very much. Still, we do the traditional, predominantly we do the traditional teaching, lecturing, demonstrating, then tutorials, many things, right? And of late, maybe we are into the innovative methodologies like flipped, blended, and then of course the problem-based learning, project-based learning, collaborative learning. Many things are there. But when you compare with the curriculum, it is so far, like comparatively, it is dynamic, whereas pedagogy, to some extent, small changes have been there. Not everybody goes in for the new innovative methodology. But if you look into the third element, that is the assessment, if you look into the third element, assessment, just imagine the same way how we have written that how the 30 years back I had a question paper as well as the evaluation. The same thing only is happening, isn't it? Yeah, are we doing some competency measurement? Nothing. So whatever the students are able to perform in that 3 hours, we are able to measure it. Of course, we have the internal, that is the continuous assessment test, and the end exam. Both put together, it is there. And again, what is it? The continuous assessment test also, we do the normal way of questions or quizzes, something like that, right? So very little change when compared to the other things, or we can predominantly say that there is no change. Okay, so so only the government, that is under Ministry of Education, AICTE, wanted to do some reforms, particularly in examination. If you want to increase the quality of education, if you want to have an see you, from the what is it, the news, the NASCOM report, or anything, if you see, they say only small percentage of the people are employable. They lack skills and other things. There is a big gap between the academia and the industry, and all these things. How do you do this? How this gap is appearing? Mostly because we don't test their ability. We test their rote memory, isn't it? Whether they are able to demonstrate, whether they are able to perform, that we don't test it. We just test the rote memory. So only there is lot of gap between the students. So because why means, see, when you say assessment is a very important component in our teaching learning, you could have come across many lectures giving the importance of assessment, because we are all talking about the examination reforms, though it might be a repetition, still I want to emphasize that the purpose of assessment is to improve the student learning, isn't it? Like, yeah, and also assessment drives what students pay attention and defines the actual curriculum. So there are many sayings and researchers, the education researchers have said this, and then because the assessment is so important. Let us say, for example, it is an engine which drives the student learning, right? Fine. And the curriculum, when you say when you look into the curriculum, it instructs the teacher what to teach. Exam instruct the students what to learn, right? So taking a lot of emphasis, or putting a lot of emphasis on assessment, because assessment is going to drive the students' learning. Fine. Right. So then we'll see the key drivers of examination reforms, because why we are having a workshop, we are talking about it and requesting all the teachers working in the engineering colleges to adapt to the new education, that is examination reforms. So set your question paper like this, so that a lot of things, because there is a growing concern about the quality and employability of the graduates. Okay, growing concern about the quality and employability of the graduates. Second thing is adaptation of outcome-based education framework. So in 2013, like government, India has signed this Washington Accord, and then we are, for the accreditation, for NBA accreditation, we all follow this outcome-based education. The graduate attributes, the 12 graduate attributes for the education, that is either NBA or ABET, whatever you take for the engineering education. Okay, you have those things, and the outcome-based education framework will demand for the outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based teaching learning, and then outcome-based assessment. Okay, so because of this also, lot of reforms, examination reforms emphasize has been there, and importance of higher order ability and professional skills. See, let us put a question here. Whenever See, in those days, engineer means one who has the technical capability, isn't it? So that person, when one owns that or shows or demonstrates that capability, technical capability, is being called as engineer. But if you look into the present situation, the 21st century engineer, if you look into that, see, it is not only the technical capability, what else plays an important role? Okay, so it is critical thinking, problem solving, communication, team player, leadership and initiative, ethics and social responsibility, lifelong learning. So apart from this, added to this technical capability, they should have all these other attributes. Okay, engineer has to possess. But if you look into our things, are we giving the emphasis for the higher order ability and professional skills, like how they are responsible for the society, and then the higher order skills like problem solving, creativity, analyzing, all those things. So here it is needed, present day, it is needed not only the technical capability, along with that, they have to have the professional skills also. So these are the three reasons why there is a drive for the examination reforms. So we have to consider, because when you are concerned about the quality and employability, then definitely there should be an examination reform. When you are going to adapt the outcome-based education, then you have to have the examination reforms taking place in your things. And if you want to inculcate the higher order abilities and professional skills, then you want to have the examination reforms, right? Fine. So this is what we were able to see it. And so we have to understand improving the structure and the quality of assessment is inevitable. Okay, you cannot avoid it. So how to improve the structure and the quality of assessment? So that is what you have been seeing for this in during this workshop, right? Fine. So just to recall, then later we'll go to the assessment planning. I'm not going to go in detail, just to refresh yourself. You might be knowing, like, because when you go for outcome-based education, see, you have, one second, is it, I'm visible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, one second. I can show the chat box. Your chat is not active, huh?
Ma'am, chat is also active, ma'am.
Okay. Chat in the channel is only available to team members, it says. Okay. So I cannot
No,
use it as a guest lecture.
no. Around 60, 67 participants are there, ma'am.
No, but I'm
No,
not
no,
able.
Sekharji, you can permit to ma'am also, presenter.
Okay,
Prasad,
sure. Sure,
okay.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Because if there is any questions,
Okay.
anything if I ask, they can interact. So that has
Okay.
been disabled. Maybe you can enable me so that I can also do that, right? Thank you very much. If you do it, still it is not there. Okay, fine. I'll continue with my presentation. Just let me know when it is done. Okay, we were otherwise there will be no interaction. I like to have interaction.
Okay, sure,
So
ma'am.
when yeah, then if you look into the outcomes, okay, the graduate attributes, right? So if you see the previously, these are the engineering graduate attributes like engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design development of the what solution, then conduct investigation of complex program. Then the fifth one, sorry, here the numbering some problem has been. Fifth one is the modern tool usage, and sixth is the engineer and the society. Seventh is environment and sustainability, individual and teamwork, communication, project management, and finance and lifelong learning. So if you look into the details of it, the first five, we call it as the technical outcomes, isn't it? They are the technical outcomes, and the rest seven is called as a professional outcomes. Okay, when you look into the technical outcomes, see, I have just colored this thing. Complex engineering problem. What is engineering knowledge? Apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problems. Okay, so again, see, then problem analysis: identify, formulate, review, research literature, and analyze complex engineering problems, and then design development of solution, design solution of complex engineering problems, and design system components or process that meets a specified need with appropriate consideration for the public health and safety and all those things. Then conduct investigation of complex problem, and then modern tool usage. So you have to create, select, and apply appropriate techniques or resources and modern engineering IT tools, including the prediction and modeling the complex engineering activities. What is this complex problem or complex engineering problems? Okay, it is not the usual problems which we solve it in the class. Okay, after every session, or let us say when you complete a chapter, there will be a lot of problems in the books given. Not that problems. Okay, so it is not the problem you are going to have it, right? So it is the, let us say, it can be a complex problem means where lot higher order thinking skills is required, where you have to look at the system as a whole, right? So there are many things you can see. See, actually, the essence captured in HOTS, that is higher order thinking skills. So it can be an open-ended questions. It cannot have so it can have it is an open-ended questions, right? So all these things are there: evolution, context, functional, non-functional specification, partial specification. Oh, sorry, what happened? Right. So these are the different that I want to just emphasize or underpin what is complexity. It is not the simple problems which we solve it in our classes after the end of each chapter or a unit or whatever it is. So you have to take. So second thing is the next okay, after this, okay, this is technical outcomes, and then the next 7 points were the graduate attributes. If you take the engineer and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, and then lifelong learning. So when you take this, these are called the what is it? The professional outcomes. Okay, now I'll come to the point, right? So we have seen the graduate attributes. It consists of two outcomes, that is the technical outcome as well as the professional outcomes. So a graduate coming out of the program or completing the program, he should be able to demonstrate the abilities, both technical as well as the professional knowledge, skill, and attitude, right? Okay. How do we measure all those things? Do we measure, first of all? Do we assess our students about all these outcomes? Because since we are adapting to outcome-based education, so how do you say that, okay, we are following this outcome-based education and our students coming out of this college or an institute will possess all these capabilities? How can you say that, right? So where unless otherwise assessment, if you can't assess the student on these capabilities, you cannot say that, or you yourself will not know whether they possess all these what is this capabilities or skill, knowledge and skill, right? Or the competency, whatever you call it as, right? Fine. So first is course outcome, program outcomes and graduate attributes we saw. So, and also at what level you want to do it, right? So see, you have to remember that learning happens in three domains. One is cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. For each domain, there is a taxonomy. So if you look into the cognitive domain, and you should understand as a teacher that learning happens in all domains. Okay, in some cases the cognitive domain will be psychomotor domain will be more. In some learning, the affective domain will be more. But if you look into it, all the three domains will be happening. So I think you might be knowing. If there is any question, you can just put it in. You can unmute. You can ask, or you can just put it in the chat. Hopefully, my chat is working now. No, not it. Okay. Somebody in traffic? Okay, right. Let me just continue it. Fine. So if you look into this taxonomy, yes, is there any question? Shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am. There is no question, ma'am.
So if you say learning, it happens in three domains. I said it is in cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. And if you look into each domain, there is a taxonomy. For example, if you look into the cognitive domain, we follow the revised Bloom's taxonomy. If you take what is it, psychomotor domain, you follow the um, Karthwal taxonomy. If you take affective domain, you follow the Dawe's taxonomy. Like, I'm just mixing. Okay, fine, right. So these three taxonomy, sorry, these three learnings, you have this taxonomy, and particularly, okay. So whenever you are going for the technical things, right? So we'll come to the next one, psychomotor and the affective domain. When you look into the knowledge part of it, we talk about the revised Bloom's taxonomy. You might be knowing, like, it has 6 levels. It's hierarchical in nature, from lower order to higher order. And unless otherwise you have the lower order things done, you cannot go and achieve the higher order things. So only they said it is hierarchical from lower order to higher order. In our teaching learning, we just give emphasize to remember, understand, and apply, isn't it? And of course, in assessment also, we ask questions, or we assess students or evaluate students in remember, understand, apply at the most analysis. So our teaching and learning and assessment, all the three, is restricted, or you can say mostly it was at the most we go to analysis, right? So remember, understand, apply, analysis, particularly in assessment, right? And but actually, what is the requirement? The requirement is your program outcome says that they should be able to design, they should be able to develop, analyze, create, and all these things are all higher order capabilities. Fine. So do we, unless otherwise we give scope for our students, unless otherwise we do something in our classes, we cannot test all those things, or we cannot expect all those things. I'll just share you a fact which happened long back, right? Like if you take in Tamil Nadu, the state Tamil Nadu, like previously when I was doing my engineering, we had different universities, technical universities, like so my BE degree was University of Madras. We had Anna University, Bharatiyar University, Manoanmani University, like that many technical universities were there. And in 2000 somewhere, right, in that time, yeah. It all came into one umbrella, that is one technical university called Anna University. So all these universities stopped offering. Now, University of Madras does not give technical degrees, right? So this is what. So what happened is, during that time I was teaching in a engineering college, right? And then the students who we were teaching this same what is it? We were teaching the same curriculum, right? And the same course I was handling. But the previous batch got very good marks and very nice result was there. The next batch, whom I was teaching the same content only, they got very, very low marks. Very one or two people only passed that exam. It was like not only my subject, almost all the subjects, it was that scenario. And you cannot blame the students, because the previous semester they were not it was so drastic, like you can see that, the examination, the curve and other things, marks and all, if you see, it was not so bad, right? So why it happened? Then we were looking into the things. So the question paper was previously it was set by the university people, and when it came under the technical university, there was one people from Anna University, IIT, they started preparing the question paper. When they prepared the question paper, it was mostly on the higher side, mostly apply, analyze, or sometimes on the create also, like design, develop, propose. So it was mostly on apply and analyze, whereas and create, whereas we were able to, or critique also, or you justify your answer, like that, many things, mostly in the higher order thinking. But when our teaching and our assessment in the class was all in the lower order. So when you teach something and then ask something else in higher order, how will the students will perform? Okay, so it should match, right? First of all, our teaching and learning should give scope for all those things, right? So that is the thing I wanted to discuss here. So in using the Bloom's taxonomy framework in planning and designing of assessment of student learning, following points need to be considered. First thing is, normally the first three learning levels, namely the remembering, understanding, and applying, to some extent the fourth level, analyzing, or assessed in the continuous internal assessment and in end semester, that is the semester end exams, where students are given limited amount of time, isn't it? See, when you want to recall, or when you want to define or explain or describe, or when you want to solve simple problem applying those things, right? Then of course you can also include analysis also, right? So that will be that is sufficient, I can say, when you are assessing, when you are giving questions or preparing questions in this level, remembering, understanding, applying, and analyzing, because you will have a time frame for it, right? So you will have a time frame, and within the time frame the students have to take up the test and exams. So you cannot go and give a very question, a complex question, or you can say in a higher order question, where analysis, evaluation, creation, because it may take lot of time. People may be capable, but when you want to give them, okay, so they might take for designing or proposing, they have to think, they have to apply the knowledge and skill whatever they have acquired, and then they have to design, right? So all the parameters, everything has to be taken care. So how do you do that? You have to give different types of things, okay? So it can be assessed in extended courseworks or in variety of student works, like course projects, mini or minor projects, internship experience, and final year projects. So in these cases where you have the scope for assessing the students, like it can be the higher order things, like you can have the, so usually there will be a project, depending upon the content or depending upon the course, you can have a course projects or mini or minor projects or intern experience and all those things, right? So this is how it goes on. So when you take the assessment, see, this is the Bloom's taxonomy: remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So so it is advised, or it can be practiced, I can say, whenever you have a fixed hour examination, let us say the continuous assessment, okay, internal assessment, or your end semester end exams, if you take, you can go to this level till analysis, okay? So if you take other things like capstone project or minor project, mini project, or course report or something like that, then you can assess the higher level abilities, okay? So this has been given in the examination reform policy also, right? I have just taken it from that. Okay, so I would like to, if there is any questions, okay, what is it? If there is any questions, you can just put, you can unmute and ask me, because still I'm not able to get that.
Actually, ma'am, I talked to the administration of our institute. The chat is disabled by the institute admin only.
Oh, okay. So nobody is using that, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So we have another option if we able to take messages in WhatsApp group. I will add you into WhatsApp group, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, that will be better. Better. Yes.
That will be better. I will be very happy. Otherwise, I have to use another tactics where you can interact. I will do that also. Okay, so just include me in your thing, and then I will log out after some time.
Ma'am, we
Okay,
can add
thanks.
in the
Yes,
WhatsApp group.
yeah, yeah, and thanks for that. Okay, if there is any questions, you can ask me so far. So what we have
Partici-
done is, yeah,
Participant, if you have any query, please
question, just put it
write
in
in
the
WhatsApp group. Write in
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp group.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Right. So just to recall what we have done is we have seen the three key elements. Okay, the three key elements, that is the assessment, sorry, first curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. So there is it's a curriculum is dynamic, a lot of changes are happening, and teaching learning also to some extent it is happening, and assessment, very little change, or I can say no change. So when you want to improve the quality, if you want to improve the employability, okay, so you have to do lot of reforms in assessment, because we are not doing it. And second, if you want to see the outcome based education says that engineers should possess the technical as well as the professional outcomes. So how do you assess them? So you should have some reforms in your assessment, and we have seen what are the technical and other things. Fine. So this is what we have seen, and then second thing is we have seen the mm, Bloom's taxonomy, revised Bloom's. I am not going into the detail, like you are going to apply, presuming that you know. If you have any questions on this, I can tell, I can expand, because I can talk more on this also, giving action words and yes. Any question?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir.
Ma'am, ये जो Bloom's taxonomy is there.
Hmm.
How do you categorize them in level 1, level 2, level 3 like that? These
So you
blocks
have,
that are there.
yes. So you should have the, I'll come to that, right? One second. See here. This is the, you're able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So if you look into this revised Bloom's taxonomy, right? So this
Yes.
is remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate. So if you look into it, remembering is exhibiting the memory of previous learned material by recalling the terms, facts, basic concepts, and answers. Let me put a question like this. List the advantages of using metals or something like that, right? Or list the advantages of three-phase induction motor. So list means what it is, like just recalling, no, remembering what you have to remember, and you're reproducing whatever you know it. So when you say define, state, list, or name, these verbs, no, the action verbs, we call them as an action. When you use these verbs, they are called as do I have that? No, I don't have that. Okay, if you look into the action verbs, you can see that it is remember. And understanding is like explain, describe, illustrate with example. Like that, if you put a question, all right, then you can say it is at the second level understanding. Because unless otherwise he has understood and he can write with a block diagram or with an example, he can explain, describe. So that is at the understanding level. Apply, like let us say compute or solve or write something like that. So then solve problems to new situation by acquired knowledge, facts, and techniques. Then you call that as an applying. And then analyzing is, let us say, you can say identify the components, and troubleshoot, or something like that, right? Analyze or identify the problems, why it is so, like that. If you ask some questions with those keywords, analyze, So if you look into the things like action verbs for each and every levels, there are a lot of action verbs available. So we should know, right? So when you say identify the components of this and write the functions of something like that. So in that case, it is at the analyze level, right? Identify, and then you're explaining, and then something also you're doing, right? All those things, how all these components form a part of a system, you are able to know it. So in that case, it is analyzing. Evaluating, let us say you're defending your opinion by your judgments or validity of ideas or quality of based on, so you're going to, let us say, evaluate the design proposal given by somebody or something like that. So you, unless otherwise you know all the parameters, functions and other things, you cannot evaluate. So when you're giving a when you're proposing, or let us say critiquing, or giving judgments, then you, it is called the evaluating. Creating is design, plan, propose, generate. All these comes under the create, where you are going to create. So design an ER diagram for an what is it, for student information system, or design or a system will be described. For that you have to design a diagram, or a situation will be given, you are going to design a bridge, which bridge will be proper, taking into all the other consideration parameters and other things. In that case it is create. Okay, so depending upon the action verb, you can understand, and the content. So a subject matter expert or the subject expert can definitely categorize it, whether it is at remember level, understand level, apply level, analyze level, evaluate level, or create level. Okay. So whenever you say, okay, define Ohm's law, that means it is at the remember level. Or if you say you solve the problem using the Ohm's law, that may be at the understand level only, you can say. Or if a new situations or something, the different parameters are given, no, and then you can put it in the apply level. So it differs. So you can just let us say, for example, the content, the subject matter person can definitely can categorize it. And there are the ways how sometimes, let us say there are two algorithms, you have to compare and contrast, that you put it in the analyze level, choose the best one of it. So that can be in the analyze level. So since you know the time complexity, space complexity of each and every algorithm, then unless otherwise you are at that level, because you could have understood it, you could have applied it to solve some numerical problems, and then you are able to analyze the complexity, and then you are going to propose it. So in that case, no, so with these action verbs, we call that action verbs, the verbs which can be used to measure the the performance or measure the outcomes, that we call as an action verb. Even see, understand is an action verb, but you cannot measure it, you cannot observe it. But when I say write, you are able to write it. When I say list, you are able to list it. When I say explain, describe, study also is an action verb, but study is not a measurable or observable verb. Also, we don't say that as an thing. Okay, like that you can have, or you have to take into the noun as well as the verb form. Verb connected with the noun form, it can give you the full meaning of it, right? So by this way you can classify every question with this level. Okay, did you get the answer? Or
no, actually, I am not asking this. Actually, if you see, you select the sixth one, like creating, you know. So if we give it a number, like any problem, we choose it, whether it is belonging to level 1 problem of creating, or level 2 of the creating problem, or level 3.
For that, level 3, what is it? Where level 3?
Well, is that a weighting label? Na? This is the weight actually you assign in a particular creating fabric or like evaluating fabric, and you are giving the some weighting factor to it. Na? Like level 1 problem of creation, yeah, level 2 problem of creation, yeah, level 3. Na? So like that actually, how you clearly differentiate between these 3 levels actually?
Actually, I do not know that. I can just tell you with the performance. You say the performance indicator. That is what you are meaning.
No, ma'am. Actually, that is what I want to know, that whether it is the complexity level it is referring to the in a particular Bloom's taxonomy, or
No.
is it?
Once again, so in Bloom's taxonomy, only this one. Maybe one second. I think you could have mistook this one. See here in Bloom's taxonomy. See, you have to understand this. I'll just show you. It is a revised Bloom's taxonomy is 2-dimensional. Okay, it is a 2-dimensional. So the first dimension is the cognitive process. The cognitive process, only 6 levels are there. Remember, and what is this? Understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. The other dimension is called the knowledge dimension. The knowledge dimension, you have the factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and cognitive knowledge. So since it is a 2-dimension, I can have it as a matrix form. Okay, so each one, so let us say at each level there can be a factual knowledge. Okay, so let us say that I think this is what you could have meant, right? And factual knowledge, then conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and metacognitive knowledge. So if you look into it, so for every level you can have 4 knowledge parts. It can be factual, it can be conceptual, it can be procedural. I think you might be knowing factual knowledge, like it is the terminologies and specifications, that you call it as a factual knowledge. Conceptual knowledge is the concept, theories, all those things we call it as a conceptual knowledge. And then procedural, how to do it, how to perform it, the skills, the algorithms, the techniques, the method, we call it as procedural knowledge. And then the cognitive knowledge is the knowledge about knowledge, or you can also say it's a strategic knowledge, or the knowledge about one's own understanding, that we call it as metacognitive knowledge. So I can have a statement, or let us say I can have an objective or an outcome which satisfied can be at applying the procedural knowledge, analyzing the conceptual knowledge, creating a metacognitive knowledge, like that. So it is a 2-dimension. So let me just say, so here I don't have it, because so here let us say this is not 4 things. So you have this cognitive knowledge. Okay, so this is the 6 knowledge, cognitive knowledge, and this is the factual knowledge. So like this, if you look into it, so you can have here these levels. What is it? Remember. So remember can be in many things. It can be in factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, So this is a 2-dimension. So if you look at the statement, see, objectives or outcomes are statements. It starts with an action verb, and then you have the noun. So if you look carefully, read that sentence or statement, you can map it to the correct thing. So let us say, for example, apply the 3 that is conserve. What is it? Reduce, reuse, recycle techniques in conserving, something like that, right? So what happens is apply. So it is in the application level. What are you going to apply? You're going to apply reduce, reuse, recycle in some conservation method or whatever it is. So you're applying the apply. So it comes into the apply, and it comes into the procedural. Okay, so this one. So this is factual, and this is conceptual, and this is procedural. So this is the level I can say. So this is where it, so this is, that statement is applying the procedural. It can be applying the concept. It can be applying the facts. Okay, so this is how you can do, this is what you can do it with your Bloom's taxonomy. And when you come to this one, right, let me just show you the the competencies. Okay, so it comes along with the outcomes. So when you have like you can say 1 2 3, usually we have that, like see, I have a chapter. See here, COPO mapping. So one is the Bloom's. You just leave it that. You should have understood. Now it is a two-dimensional. It has a cognitive process as well as the knowledge process. You can map it. The second component, let us say the COs. Okay, POs you have it, and for every course you have the course outcomes. Okay, course outcomes. And let us say when you are going to map, see, when a course is being given to a teacher, the first of all, the teacher should know what is the course outcome. And looking at the course outcome, the teacher should also should know how it has been mapped to the program outcome. So it is a mandate that every teacher, whenever you are taking a course, before while you are designing the course, okay, or planning for the course, you have to know that. So each element, they could have mapped something, because you could have not done your curriculum setter or a group of people, your department people headed by your department head and with external academic person and other industry person, they could have done this one. Okay, so each element of the matrix has a value like 1 2 3 like that. So whenever I say 1 means it is relevant and small significance. Okay, 2 means it's moderate or medium. 3 means it's strong. So if you look into these values have been justified in teaching learning assessment, particularly in terms of Bloom's level of the question or the problem. So just see here. So you have, let us say, usually in a course you will have 4 to 6 course outcomes. It is not that for every unit you should have a course outcome. So that is not a right way to do it. You should take the course as a whole. When you take it, you can have like 5 to 7, 3 will be too low, or even you can have in some courses, according to the credit, you can have that. So at least 4 to 6, okay, it depends. So sometimes they go for 7 also. There is no hard and fast rule that you should have only 3 or 4 or 5, or according to the units, nothing like that. You have to look into the course as a whole. Okay, so so you have to put all your course outcomes, and here you have the program outcomes, the 12 program outcomes. So I've just taken the first 4 program outcomes. Okay, when you look at the course outcomes, see how it maps. You see, the first thing is, what is it? The first one, the first is the engineering. That is, one second. Engineering knowledge, problem analysis. So then design and development of solution, then conduct investigation of complex problem. So engineering knowledge. So that is what mostly in our things we do that, right? So in that case, what happens? So here, one second. Where is it? Yeah. So your first outcome, course outcome, is being mapped. How it has been mapped? Is it too heavy or okay, medium or less? So accordingly, the number has been given, right? So 2 is okay, medium. Then here medium. Strong means or 2, then 3. Okay, so this is a problem solving. Something in your it goes for a lot of problem solving, and then here it goes for problem solving as well as for the complex things, right? So like this, the things are being given. So this will give you the emphasis. After seeing this COPO mapping, this will help you to design your classes, to design your assessment, how heavily you have to do it. So I have to test more on the engineering knowledge. I have to give problems, okay, to solve it. I have like that. You can see, you can get the idea, or this forms a blueprint for selecting, for first of all for planning your teaching learning as well as for your assessment. Okay, So this is the number you will be having. So now you have the, you know what is Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, now you have, this is very important in the outcome based education. Every course will have the course outcomes, and the course outcomes will be mapped into the POs, that is the program outcomes. So you have to take your curriculum, go through that. What is my course outcome? Don't leave there itself. Okay, don't just okay, syllabus is there, my curriculum is there, my outcomes are there. Okay, no, you have to go one step ahead. Go find out the COPO mapping. Okay, so how it has been mapped, right? So where it is required, even sometimes PO5, PO6, everything. I have just given a continued, I just given only a short thing. So where I have to, so this will give you to plan, to deliver, as well as to assess. So, okay, I have to concentrate more on PO3. I have to, lot of weightage has to be given to PO4 in the course outcome 7. In course outcome 6, it is like this. So this will give you an idea, right? So with this, so this is what. So the attempts to move students beyond memorization. So all these things, attaining POs requires reaching level 6 in assessment in the curriculum. One second. Yeah, right. So these two things are very, very, very important. Fine. Now, if you look into this examination reform policy, okay, the outcomes are there, the competencies to be attained, okay, the CAs, and they have gone into the performance indicators, okay, performance indicators. If you look, I have just taken some of these things from, one second, I'll come back to this one. Okay, see, if you take this program outcome competency performance indicator, I think you could have had a session yesterday, like demonstrate competency in the, this is the PO1. PO1 is the engineering knowledge. Okay, if you take the engineering knowledge, demonstrate the competency in the mathematical model. So here, what is it? They have given like this performance indicators to be more specific and to be more, to give a lot of clarity. To give the clarity only they have done. Okay, so to apply mathematics techniques such as calculus, linear algebra, and statistics to solve problem. Apply advanced mathematical techniques to model and solve mechanical engineering problem. Okay, so this is the things. So when you take a subject, when you're handling, when you're applying these things, then you can say, okay, PO1. So when they are going to solve solve a problem by applying the mathematical things, by basic science and other things, you can clearly say it is PO1. And you can also, to be very specific, you can say it is the performance indicators 1.1.1, or it is 1.2.1 if it is on the science. If it is on the engineering fundamentals, it is 1.3. Demonstrate the competency in, like that. Because this you can always refer the examination reforms. So see here the PO2. PO2 is to identify, formulate, research literature, and analyze complex engineering problem, reaching sustained conclusion using the first principles of so many things. So when you articulate the problem statement and identify the objectives, identify the engineering system, variables, parameters to solve the problem, identify the mathematical engineering and other relevant. So it is given like this. So whenever you are doing this, see, previously that numbering, 1, 2, 3, that it will give you, so when you look into it or read it once or twice or thrice, you getting lot of clarity how this number has been given, right? So that is what. So this is to this performance. Previously, the performance indicators were not available, but it was mentally done. Now it is clearly available. So you can also say, okay, it is at this point. Okay, 2, 3, 4 points have been covered. I'll give you, I can give 3 points in this program in PO2, like that. Okay, 3 or 2 or 1. So like this for every competency. See, communication, program outcome 10. So demonstrate the ability to comprehend the technical literature and document the project work. So when you're able to read, understand, interpret technical and non-technical information, produce clear, well-structured, well-organized return engineering document, a report or a document, then or a manual. So you can how sometimes your in some of the assessment you'll have a project report, project work. So in that project work you request them to submit. In that you can also do this. Okay, a lot of things can be given. So this is what. So like this, the table is being available for the engineering program. Mostly it is said that almost all the engineering, like including civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, instrumentation, they follow. Some changes have been available in computer science, those things that has been also given. It is just a suggestive list of competency and associated performance thing. Okay, you can always argue or debate on something, but mostly it has been done by a lot of people, and then you can convince with these things, right? So whatever is being given in this appendices, like if you look into the examination reforms, fine, I'll go back to my thing. So these things, two things you are having now. Coming to the preparation of the course assessment plan. So when you have to do this, not after the class or after the course ending, or not during, no, it should be done before you start that course. Okay, so where you are going to set a model question paper, right? This, when are you going to do it? You're going to start doing it before you start the course. During your whenever the students completed, they'll have some study holidays, and you'll have some time. During that time, your department can have some meetings, and then you can perform. Because if you are a newcomer, or if you don't have that experience, and if you have some problems, whether to do this, that, whether I can put it like this. So it cannot be decided by a single teacher. It should be by the group of things, okay, group along with your HOD, because that has to be accepted, and you have to do it, no? So always a course assessment plan lays out a well thought out selection of assessment methods and measurements that are aligned to the outcomes of the course. So you should be clear that what are your course outcomes, what are your assessment methods and measurements, that you should be very clear, right? Coming to this next one. So what is the steps? So when you have to do before the course commencing, like what is the steps? First, write the course outcomes. So course outcomes will be given in your curriculum, right? Write the course outcomes, CO1, CO2, CO3, just write it, right? And the second thing is connect to the program outcomes and which PI. So now you are going to go to the second step also. This is, so you are connecting to the program outcomes and which PI are addressed. You refer the examination reform policy. Actually, which PI? See, when I say 2, 3, 1, you will not understand what is it, right? Okay, what is it? Okay, so you go to that. How it is being given 2, how it is being given 3. So if you just go and see that PI, the performance indicators, so you will be able to understand. So connect to the program outcomes and which PI are addressed. They are now giving it very clearly, so you connect it to it. Then what is the level of complexity of each CO? That is the course outcomes. So these things you have to prepare. How do you prepare that one? Coming to the next one. See, let us take, you have a course, first we will prepare a course assessment plan for every course. Let us take some, for example, I have taken signals and systems, and then I think in that you have 6 or 7 outcomes. I have, for the time, for the screen to be occupied, I have just put 4 outcomes. Okay, so I have taken from the example which is being given by KLE Technology University. So I have taken that one. So where you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let us say there may be 5, 6 also, right? And then the weightage in assessment, the weightage in assessment. So how much weightage? See this, who's going to decide? The subject matter expert along with your department people, okay, because this is going to be standardized, right? Like whether you're taking, or there may be 2 or 3 teachers having. One second, is there any questions? Okay, there is some other. Okay, fine. So is there any okay, this is fine. Yeah, so this has been decided, okay, 15 percentage, 35 percentage, 30 percentage, 20 percentage. So for 100 is being divided, right? So 50, yeah, 50, 100 percentage is being divided into different course outcomes. So you can give weightage to it. Why are you giving weightage? Because the number of hours you spend on taking the class as well as the questions you're going to ask for that. How much weightage I have to give for course outcome 1, how much weightage you have to give for this is going to be decided by you and your department. Okay, you can have it, how much thing. So this will tell you how much time I have to spend in delivering the classes as well as in preparing the assessment and other things. So you might be having, according to that, you'll have test 1, test 2, that is cat 1, cat 2, or quiz or assignment or project work, whatever you want it, you write it here. What are the assessment methods? Okay, so whether you'll have test 1, test 2, or test 3, or something, whatever assessment. This is just a plan, okay? You're before executing it, you're planning it so that you're going to deliver it in that way. So you're going to say, okay, test 1, test 2, assignment. So if you want to know, okay, I am going to give test in test 1, I am going to address this CO1. Okay, identifying different signals and system and state their properties for both analog and discrete domain. So I'll be having a test, I'll be having a quiz. For this, I'll be having test 1, maybe I didn't put it here, assignment, okay, or a quiz or something like that, let us say. And then I'll be, for this one, I'm going to have test 2 and an assignment. Like this, whatever you're going to give. See, because all the assessment includes everything, no? Your test, your activities, your assignments and other things. So, and it has to be mapped to the course outcome. Then only you are giving a valid, you're preparing a valid question paper, or you're preparing a valid assessment tool. Otherwise, sometimes, no, if you don't assess some outcome, that student may not. You're not actually assessing the capability whether he will be able to apply the concept of impulse response and other things, whatever is being given in the course outcome. So in the end exam, you are going to give everything. Let us say you are going to test everything 50 percentage. Here I am going to do it, right? So here 20, 20, like this weightage you are going to calculate. You can include all the course outcomes. If there are 6 course outcomes, how you are going to do it. So let me just show you another one. So here also it is not, it is, see here it is different. There it was different. How will I design this one? This will be designed by you and your department people. Because if you have something like, you can discuss and you can come to a conclusion, right? So how much weightage you have to give for this one? 20 percentage, 30 percentage, 30 percentage, 50 percentage. And how do I do it? Through test. So here I don't have test to, because you want, for the software engineering, you want to have a mini project. So in mini project, I am going to give the weightage as 30 percentage. And for test, I am going to give, for the first course outcome 1 and 2 only, I am going to give the test which is carrying 20 percentage. Your internal assessment, these things are all comes under the internal assessment, course internal assessment. Okay, CIE, course internal CIA. Okay, course internal assessment. This is the semester end exam. If you look into it, so this becomes 50%, this becomes 50%. So it also depends upon your institute, whether you are going to give 30%, 70%, 20%, 80%, 50%, like that. Okay, so it depends. Mostly according to the autonomous colleges, mostly it is 50-50 or something. You can give, you can decide like that, right? So prepare according to your thing. Okay, right. The next thing is you have to give the structure, no structure. So written exam. So board decision. How many questions? What is the choice? What is the time allotment? See, always know, like how many questions, see in 3 hours test, right? Or in 1 hour test, how many questions you can ask? And is there any choice? If there is a choice, whether it is, see, usually what happens in those days, we used to have, when I was doing my engineering, we used to have answer any 5. And they'll give you 8 questions. Okay, answer any 5. 75 marks was the end exam. So 15, 5 into 15, 75 marks. Okay, so sometimes we can leave one particular unit also, right? So usually they will ask some of 8 questions. In some, you can, if you are thorough in 4 or 3 units, 3.5 units, you can definitely get a pass mark, right? So no harm. But some of the tough things which is not, I need not worry about it. In that also I can pass, I can get good marks also. So what happens is, have I acquired all the ability which I have to do it after completing the exam? So that is not, no, it is not a proper way of giving the choice. So what happens is, usually in those days we used to leave, right? Very difficult unit, we just leave it. But still I can get above like 80%, and then that means I'm very good at that subject. But sometimes very essential things which is required, I may not possess this knowledge or skill. So that should not happen. So then later there was some reforms. You should not give um, open choice like this. For every unit you have to, they should not omit any unit. For every unit you have to have either this or that, either this or that. So that, so any 5 questions, but there will be 10 questions appearing in that paper. But I cannot leave. I have to choose either one, either this or that in that unit. So in question number 1, question number 2, so 5 questions. So I have to attend. In that way, the people were made, the students were made to go through all the units. Okay. So in case, no, so whatever outcomes you have put, all the outcomes has to be attained by the students, isn't it? That is the purpose of it. So you have to check whether you are going to test, or whether see how many questions you wanted and what questions will be tested, what outcomes will be tested in the end questions, and what is the choice. Time allotment. See, when you write an exam, right, let us say you are an expert, you are teaching that, when you take 1 hour to complete, then actually for a learner or a student, you have to give double the time to do it. Because since you know the subject, you will be you can interpret it, you can know, and then you can write it fast. But when a new student, when a new learner is doing it, it should be almost the double the time what you have to give them. Okay, so that is the time allotment. Then this is the broad decision. Then structure. Which are the COs? Okay, capital COs. We are addressing the exam. What is the weightage for each CO? What are the PIs being tested? So we have to be clearly knowing that. Okay. See, that is what in our exams, it is only the marks, and it is, you cannot do it. When you do like this, you can measure the competency of the things. When I am testing all those things. So if they get these marks, that means they are they have possessed these competencies. That type of things you can say, if it is been structured like this. Then the quality, what is the level of cognitive complexity, at what the whole question paper level, and at each question level also you can do it. Okay, and if you look into it, you have to prepare the model question paper structure, that we call it as QPS. Okay, model question paper structure. So you take the questions, there will be as many questions, you can put it, what is the marks for it, what is the CO's address, whether it is CO1 or CO2 or CO3, like that you can write it, this which Bloom's level. Okay, whether it is at for this, to arrive this, what you have to do is, I'll come to this one, this is the end one. For this, what you can do is, you can prepare the quality matrix. Okay, prepare quality matrix. What is it? See, question number, every question outcome alignment matrix. The previous one is the quality, that is the level matrix. So when these two things are there, then you can, even if you are very good, you can directly write it here also. Okay, you can put it in an Excel sheet and then put it. So finally you can put, okay, for question 1, what is the BL level, what is the course outcome level. So you can have it. So when you have it, so when you put the total and weightage, finally you can prepare, you can see to that. See, it may not be the same. Okay, for example, I have put all 20, 20, 20. It can vary also. It may vary usually, right? So you can measure. Okay, my question paper will have 20 percentage of level 2, level 3, 40 percentage, level 4, 40 percentage. That means at understand level 20 percentage, and then at apply level it is 40 percentage, and it analyze level 40 percentage. You can also have something, sometimes remember, like very let us say very easy question only at the rote memory, if you want it, many people will be asking at the remember level, so that will be 40. So this will help you to understand the level of difficulty, or the Bloom's level wise mark distribution. And the next one is the quality, that is one is the quality, another one is the alignment. Alignment is whether all the questions, whatever is being given, as addressed or mapped to the course outcomes without leaving any of the course outcomes. So it may, what is the weightage, like that you can measure it. So if you look into the, like if you look into the these things we have done, you could have seen. See, like this. Okay, all these things are given in the appendices, like in your annexures of your examination reforms. So at what level it may differ. Okay, yeah. So but what happens is, this is to be done before the commencement of the course, a model question paper. So this matrix has to be evaluated, the Bloom's taxonomy level, the course outcomes, all those things has to be done. So this will help you in preparing the questions according, so that, okay, I should give weightage 8 marks for the course outcomes, 20 marks for the course outcome 2. I have to set question marks like this. Okay, questions, and then like this, all these things, 100 questions, 100 marks can be divided like this. Okay, the same levels also. So when you plan this assessment, when you set this model question paper, this is just a blueprint of it. Okay, what is the how much level? See, you can decide among you whether it should be 42 or 52 or 62. That can be along within the department, along with the expert, along with your HOD. Expert means you all, your seniors, your HODs can, with the help of this, you can decide it and you can frame it. Okay, so this definitely when you are going to do the curriculum evaluation, whether your program's outcomes are mapped, easily it can be done, right? And when you are going to map it, no, all your test, assessment, and end exam, project, whatever you are going to do with assessment measures, you can easily do that, right? So this is what has been required, and this has been spelled out in your examination reforms policy. An example has been also given. I think this will give you a clear, this is how you are going to set the semester end exam model paper. Okay, so that is how. And then in detail, so when this outline or the blueprint is set, accordingly you can set the next session you will be knowing how to create, okay, at level 3, okay, 46 marks. So I have to give, like let us say a lot of problems, solving problems or applying the knowledge and skills. For that I have to have 46 marks. 36 marks is on level 2. So understand, describe, illustrate with example, like that I have to give 36. And the weightage for the course outcome also is given. So first thing is, according to the course, you prepare this and then you can execute it. Okay. So this is my end of my presentation. I'll stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful lecture. Participant, if you have any query, you will unmute yourself and ask, ma'am. Participant side.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a very nice lecture.
Yeah.
Participants are requested, if they have any doubt regarding this lecture, any point, they can just unmute themselves.
Yeah, please, participant can ask any small query you can ask. Earlier also we have declared, if you ask no, that have means shareable to all. So any small query you can share, please.
You can, participant, you can also write in chat box if you wish to ask any question.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you, because myself is Professor V.K. Giri, and I have gone through this, the topic which you have covered. Of course, this is more related towards the question paper and this. One small question, doubt which I faced with the students as well as and my colleagues also during the discussion. There are two terms, PEO and PO.
Okay.
Can you very crystal clearly distinguish the difference between these two? There is a confusion between program outcome and program educational objective. These two terms, I think. Am I right? I think.
Okay. Program outcomes is based upon the graduate attributes which is being given by the NBA or by ABET. Okay. So so usually the program outcomes will be the same for any discipline. Okay, for any let us say engineering discipline, mechanical or electrical or electronics or civil program outcomes. That is, you'll have 12 program outcomes, which is dependent upon the graduate attributes. Then the program objective, that is a PEO, educational objective.
Yes.
That depends upon the see. There may be two. There may in our country. Let us say even in your state, there may be so many institutions offering mechanical engineering, right? But let us say my college is near the automobile industry, and I have a lot of experts in automobile. So my mechanical engineering will be focusing on automation, automotives, like that, right? There may be some other mechanical engineering college institute having a mechanical program. They will be concentrating on the energy, right? Wind, or it may be wind energy or solar energy, something like that. So there the difference comes where you're focusing your very your objectives, no, educational objectives, or doing that we call, previously we will be calling it a PSO, specific objectives also. So your educational objectives, okay, that is PEO, that will depend upon the expertise or your, and it will be oriented to your vision mission of your institute. PEO is towards your vision mission of your for your for